Hello, hello, Superwomen. Gonna give you full disclosure. I was supposed to be delivering a spicy summer series like you have enjoyed so much in the past, but I have been too busy living, receiving, making out, going on dates, having random mimosa brunches, dinners with my girlfriends, beach days, the most fun with my daughter ever who was on summer break. So, anyways, I didn't want to give you a half ass summer series. I want to talk about being a turned on woman, how to be a receiver, because receivers are turned on. I'm Dr. Jordan Wiggins, naturopathic doctor, author, pleasure and intimacy strategist. Here we are healing from people-pleasing, overgiving, and from abusive and toxic relationships. This is your daily reminder that you deserve a life of peace, ease, fulfillment, orgasms, because you are, not because you earned it. And if you are here and my work resonates, it's because we were not given the right script. What we were handed, what was modeled for us was fundamentally flawed and broken. And the exact skills that make us successful in our careers are the skills that are keeping us from the intimacy and connection that we desire. You know, when we're in our high achieving, fix it kind of crusty mode, and the pleasure centers in our brain are off, and we'd rather do anything other than be intimate. Receivers, that we've done our work, we've walked the pleasure path, we've learned about how all of our super traits and our overgiving, people-pleasing habits might not actually be serving us. They make us successful, but they're not that useful in sex and love. Go figure. So receivers, even if they've had the most stressful day, putting out fires at work, our turn-on's never that far away. We can access that part of our brain. My clients, we have a recipe. We know what's required to get there. We know our bodies. We know how we like to be touched. We know how that changes through our monthly cycle, or if we're in perimenopause or menopause, it's going to be different. So we've learned this. We have a recipe. We know ourselves. We know our bodies, our brains, where we are hormonally. So the turn-on's never too far away. And we know the context, okay, the context required to turn us on, because we know that most of us have responsive desire. And that's okay. That's totally normal. It means that we need the context or the situation to be sexual enough, arousing enough to get us turned on, to turn on those pleasure centers. But receivers, we're feral as fuck for the right people. So I guess it's more like sovereign and feral as fuck, and choosing when we want to be turned on, who we want to share our turn on with. We know that our turn on is fully our own, and we don't have to share it with anyone, right? And I know most of you are cringing when your husband gets in bed because you know he's going to press his erection up against you. Or you're dating again after a period of celibacy or after relationships that didn't work out, and you just jump into that pleasing mode. Like, how do I please him? So I'm going to talk about some tips for turn on. And they're not what you think, okay? It's not take a bath and get a massage, because we know those things and they're not working, or else you wouldn't be listening. Okay, so tips for our feral girl summer. Tips for turn on. I was gonna make a just a tip joke, but have I matured beyond that? I don't know. The first thing that we are going to do is stop making decisions for how it will make you look. Because we know when we have super traits, we want to look responsible and reasonable, and we are always have our attention out, focused on what other people think. Okay, so we're going to stop making decisions for that outward orientation of how is this going to look? And we are going to start making decisions for the fuck yes. Okay, some choices are made because they feel good in our stomachs, in our pelvic floor, and we might not be able to explain it other than this feels right. We are disappearing or matching effort when things start to feel off. Okay? Especially in dating, especially in jobs and careers that we are over giving to. It is okay to cut things off. It is okay to give less to those friendships. Okay. If we want space for our turn on and our creativity and our peace and our health and our pleasure, we have to stop over giving to the things that do not give back. Okay. We're leaving a party when we're bored. We're staying longer when we're delighted and when it feels good. I was going to go to the beach for a few hours and we ended up staying until sunset, ordering food to the beach, because it was delightful to be there. Something else that receivers do that other women do not is we speak our minds. I noticed I was out for dinner with my girlfriends, winery, beautiful view, chef was amazing. It was like a little fancier place. And this happens to me on public transit. It happens to me at fancy restaurants. It happens at my retreats. Give people something to stare at. Give them something to captivate them and stop their conversation and listen to yours. And sometimes it's with extreme judgment. Okay? But because you can imagine what my unfiltered conversations are like with my friends. Let the other table stare. Laugh so loud they turn their heads. Talk about the sexcapades, the good, the bad, the ugly of your relationship, but be real. And yeah, people are going to stare, people are going to judge, but that's another thing that receivers have stopped doing. They've stopped having any fucks to give about what other people think. And these are parts of my teaching on the pleasure path. You'll learn them here. Head over to my Substack, subscribe there. We're giving you more and more of these tools for how to actually do it. And I'm going to give you another one here because on one hand, we're talking, we're sharing, we're saying the realness, right? Whether it's bad or whether it's spicy and amazing, we're sharing about realness. And it doesn't matter if you're in a fancy setting, let them stare. And that being said, we're also not over explaining because this is a super trait thing. This is something that we constantly are doing. We're saying too much, right? We want to set a boundary and we rewrite the email 10, 20 times. We want to say no to something and we're qualifying it with 10 extra sentences that don't need to be there. Okay, so even though I want you to share deeply, be so real and so raw that people stare, because that's authenticity and that is attractive and that is a turn on and you're going to attract authenticity back. I also want you to stop over explaining yourself. Okay, keep some things a little closer to your chest. Some mystery, and this is especially for you, Superwomen, my single Superwomen. A little mystery is good for the soul. We don't have to share everything with everyone that hasn't earned access to us. Another thing that receivers do for their turn on is we don't act a way that we're not feeling. So, for example, so many of us had to show up and perform and be at the same level every single day, lift the same every single day, have as much output, as much performance at work every single day at home. Okay? Receivers, turned on women, feral women, feral with sovereignty, they can be turned on when they're turned on. The next day or the next week, if you're getting your period and it's a no, it's a no. We are soft and wanting hugs and cuddles when we want hugs and cuddles. We're wild, free, feral when we feel that way. And I'm not trying to tamper that, or I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. I'm a cyclical being, probably headed into perimenopause soon, like as in a few years. And how I feel or my state of being is changing from week to week. What I want changes. Sometimes it's cuddles and foot rubs. Sometimes it's booking a last minute trip or sex in public. It's changing. And I don't try to pretend that I play one note every day. This is the same. This is a teaching. This is a pleasure principles teaching. The way that most women with super traits have sex is the same note every single day. It's the same sounds, same positions, same, right? Because we're trying to please the other person and we're doing what works. And that is fucking boring. Everyone gets tired of that. But you know what? We can keep them guessing. And the good ones, the men that we are allowing access to us, allowing access inside of us to our wombs, etc., are the ones that are going to keep up. And you know what I've also noticed is that the good ones, the ones that are capable of a pleasure-centered relationship, right? They're not just taking, they're not under functioners. They can actually add equal or greater value. They don't necessarily get it. They're like, okay, last week you were absolutely unstoppable. This week you're kind of in a cocoon on the couch. They don't get it, but they don't need to. They're like, I'm here for you. What do you need? Water, tea, foot rub, couple orgasms. Those ones, they're the keepers. Those ones are the keepers. A turned on woman goes out on her own. She does things alone. She doesn't wait for permission or somebody to come with her. You want to go for a walk somewhere stunning? Go. Want to see a movie by yourself? Go. The doors and the opportunity that will open when you are not scared of your own company. This is an action step that I have had women take, is planning a date for yourself. The date that you would love to be taken on, plan it, go on it alone. This is so fucking healing. And you become more magnetic, more unfuckwithable, more healed when you are okay being alone. And that is something that when we are a people pleaser, a lot of our identity comes from what we give to others, our titles, our roles. And when that is all stripped away, we struggle with our identity. Who are we? What's our value? And dating yourself, taking yourself out, doing things alone is a great way to get to know yourself. Second thing, I don't know how many tips I'm on now. Wear something a little inappropriate, something that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. I'll tell you one thing for free. You will never catch me in a mom bathing suit. It is bikinis for me. And I see sometimes, we're out in these settings and the other moms are all covered up and I'm in my little two-piece. So we are wearing something that we want to wear but might make us feel a little uncomfortable. Go places like go with wet hair. Just stop giving a fuck about what other people think. I went on a date with wet hair. The terms of said date were a little unclear because I kind of thought it was a catch up. He said it was a catch up. We need a little, that's a to be continued. We need some more clear information. The moral of this story is that we're living for us, we're living in the moment, and we're living for how we feel internally. And when we start doing that, when we're able to tune into our internal state, turn on is so much easier to access, which is very interesting because we've always thought that it's an outward job. But desire, arousal, turn on, it's inside work. And it has more to do with being able to tune into feeling and sensation than anything else. Hope that helps. Because we are healing this summer. We are having more orgasms this summer, better orgasms, even if they're with ourselves. Because, you want to talk about healing. That's how my clients learn their bodies, learn their turn on, learn how to squirt if they want, learn how to know what kind of touch they want. So you've got some real tangible things to work on. And if what I said resonates, please, please, please head over to my Substack and subscribe. You'll find more action steps for how to get out of that high achieving brain and become a receiver. And if you're listening and this speaks to you and you feel lost and you need somebody to give you the map, give you the framework, those next steps, you're like, I don't know what I want, or I keep repeating the same patterns in relationships. I don't know what turns me on. And you want to work with me privately. This could be for a couple hours. This could be for 3 months. I want you to head to the show notes and fill out an application. I know what happens. You prioritize other things. You put yourself on the back burner. These issues do not get better by ignoring them. You are going to be in the same place or worse a couple years from now. Or you can hop on the pleasure path with me and all the other recovered high achievers who are now receivers. And you can have a turned on, sovereign, feral girl summer. Let's go.